The man who fined me $500 for having the wrong fence color thought he could control everyone. He didn't know I was quietly collecting every dirty secret he'd buried. And when I struck, he lost everything. This is how I destroyed the most arrogant HOA president in our neighborhood's history. If you've ever dealt with a power-hungry boss, a corrupt neighbor, or someone who thought they could bully you without consequence, hit that like button. Because what you're about to hear is one of the most satisfying stories of justice you'll ever experience. When I first moved into my quiet suburban neighborhood, I imagined peace. Early morning walks, trimmed lawns, and friendly waves from neighbors. But instead, I walked right into a dictatorship run by one man, Todd. Our HOA president. Todd wasn't just the type who loved power. He fed on it. He strutted around the neighborhood like a sheriff in a one-horse town, clipboard in hand, sunglasses on, ready to write up violations, like he was saving civilization. He fined one neighbor $200 because her trash bins were out a minute past 9 a.m. He fined another for grass unevenness, and me. I got slapped with a $500 fine for using the wrong shade of wood stain on my fence. When I explained that the approved stain wasn't even in stock and showed him the receipts, Todd just smirked and said, "Rules are rules. You can appeal it if you want to waste your time." That smirk burned into my mind. It wasn't just about the money. It was about being disrespected, belittled, treated like dirt by someone who thought he was untouchable. That's when I made a promise to myself. I'm going to take you down, Todd. Not with anger, with precision. I knew I couldn't just fight him from the outside. Todd controlled everything, the HOA board, the votes, the budget. So I did what he never expected. I volunteered to join the HOA board myself. I played my part perfectly. Cheerful, helpful, just wanting to get involved. Todd welcomed me with that fake smile of his, probably thinking I'd be another pawn he could control. For 2 years, I stayed quiet. I attended every meeting. I watched him manipulate votes, bury paperwork, and pressure other board members into silence. He'd schedule emergency votes when only his allies could attend, and when homeowners filed complaints, he'd lose them. But I was keeping notes, every word, every receipt, every shady transaction he signed off on. Todd thought I was harmless, and that was his first mistake. After a while, I started noticing something strange. Our annual HOA fees were much higher than nearby neighborhoods, but the community pool was always closed. The landscaping was dying, and the playground looked abandoned. Where was the money going? I asked Todd during a board meeting, "Hey, could we get a copy of the annual budget?" He laughed. "Don't worry about it, I've got it under control." That was his second mistake, because legally, as a homeowner, I was entitled to see those records. So I filed a formal request. He ignored it. Weeks passed. Nothing. So I started asking around. Turns out I wasn't the first to wonder. Several neighbors told me they'd asked for the budget before, and Todd had either stalled or flat out refused. One woman said Todd had used HOA funds to build himself a brand new patio. Another neighbor swore Todd's kids were swimming in the pool during its maintenance closure. Now I had suspicions, but I needed proof. So, I filed a formal complaint, this time forcing Todd to hand over the records. It took 3 months, but finally he cracked. And when I opened those financial documents, my heart started racing. Because Todd wasn't just a bully, he was a thief. The records were chaos, invoices missing, payments with no descriptions, thousands labeled miscellaneous or ministrative. The 15 Sauerlandrand landscaping fee paid to a company I'd never heard of. So I looked it up. No such business existed. I dug deeper, cross-referencing HOA transactions with public records. And there it was. Todd had been funneling money from HOA accounts straight into his personal ones. Every maintenance project he bragged about was inflated by thousands. He and his contractor buddy were splitting the profits. I stayed up nights building my case. Screenshots, bank records, copies of emails, even statements from neighbors who had witnessed Todd's shady dealings. By the end of it, I had a mountain of evidence, more than enough to end his little empire. But timing was everything. I needed to hit him where it hurt. in front of everyone he thought he controlled. Every year, the HOA held a general meeting. Usually just 5 or 6 people showed up. But I had a different plan. For weeks I went door to door. I didn't reveal everything, just enough to get people curious and angry. Hey, do you ever wonder where your HOA money goes? Did you know Todd's been ignoring financial transparency laws? By the night of the meeting, the room was packed. Dozens of homeowners, many standing in the back, arms crossed, ready for answers. Todd walked in, looking smug, clearly enjoying the attention. He started droning on about how difficult it was managing the community, how much he'd sacrificed. That's when I stood up. Calmly, I said, "Todd, could you explain some discrepancies I found in the HOA's budget?" He laughed nervously. "I don't think this is the time or place." I smiled. "Actually, Todd, it's the perfect time." I handed out printed copies of my report to everyone in the room. Dozens of pages. Transactions, bank statements, fake invoices, all of it. The murmurs started immediately. Then whispers. Then shouting. Todd's face turned pale. He tried to regain control, gavel in hand, banging it like a madman. "Order! This meeting is out of order!" But it was too late. I raised my hand again. I call for a vote of no confidence. Let's remove Todd as our president. People raised their hands one by one. Almost everyone. Within minutes it was unanimous. Todd was officially removed, and for the first time since moving there, the room erupted in applause. After that night, I wasn't done. We brought in an independent auditor to go through every record Todd had touched. The results were staggering. He'd embezzled over 50,000. He'd falsified financial reports, forged approvals, and even paid fake vendors that were actually his friends. We took everything to the police. Todd was charged with multiple counts of fraud and ordered to pay restitution. To cover his legal fees and the stolen money, he had to sell his house. The same one with the unpermitted structures he fined others for not having. His contractor buddy. Banned from working in the county ever again. It was poetic justice. Every smug smile, every rules are rules moment, gone in an instant. After Todd was gone, we rebuilt the HOA from the ground up. We added term limits, required 3 signatures for every financial decision, and we made every document public, accessible online for all homeowners. Within months, the difference was visible. The pool was open, the lawns were perfect, and the neighborhood actually felt like a community again. I still remember walking past Todd's old house, now owned by a lovely family with kids who play outside every afternoon. I couldn't help but smile. Because Todd didn't just lose his title or his house, he lost his power, and that's what he valued most. I later heard he tried to join another HOA board in a nearby town. Someone Googled his name during the meeting. He never came back. Justice wasn't just served, it was plated, garnished, and served cold. Sometimes revenge isn't about rage. It's about patience, outsmarting the person who thought they could walk all over you. Because nothing feels better than watching a tyrant crumble under the weight of their own arrogance. If this story gave you chills or made you smile, hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And tell me in the comments what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed. Don't forget to subscribe for more true stories of karma, justice, and sweet, sweet payback.